I have shown you many good works from my Father. For which of these are you going to stone me?" Friends, Jesus always lived his life authentically and unapologetically as himself. As we grow closer now to Holy Week, just a few days away, and to those high holy days of our faith that express the core of what Jesus did for us, and of how our lives are meant to conform and live, at least on this side of heaven, what exactly is Jesus modeling for us today in the gospel when getting to a very dangerous point, could we say? The stakes become all the higher, and along with them the risks that he takes for speaking and living and being God's truth. And yet in all of it, as much as Jesus has moved in his humanity, as any of us would be when we're nearly being stoned to death, having to seemingly evade death and risk our lives at every corner, and of course knowing that Jesus will eventually step into that place out of love for us, where are our hearts with it? In other words, let me ask you, how much are you influenced by your environment? Whether good or bad, if we're doing God's work, how much does it mean for us to sometimes be liked or not so liked? Jesus gives us a good example, and throughout his life, he is never afraid to be himself. Not in some sense of being a rebel without a cause, but very much sometimes a rebel with a cause, a definite cause, which is not to rebel or not to offend others, but to know and to show that he is one who stands with God, who stands in the Father's eyes as beloved, and seeking to give that gift to others, to invite us to a great relationship. And that sometimes speaking that message means that we are going to be judged harshly, especially by those who don't understand or out of their ignorance and arrogance seek to silence our voice. But Jesus gives us the perfect response. Not a reaction, but a response to people who are afraid and sometimes will act even violently against our convictions. And it's this: let our actions speak for ourselves. Let us not just be women and men of God's word, but of our word, such that we show by our actions, by what we choose to say, and by what we choose not to say, that we are people who are comfortable in our own skin because we have known God's love and because we so desperately want to share that with others, even if it means it's met with people's insecurity and brokenness and fear, which is often translated sometimes through violence. Friends, Jesus always gives us the example of the nonviolent one who stands tall, proud, and confident, not in anything that they have created, but in what they have accepted. Do you know where you stand with God? And if so, why should anything else matter? Because like a great love ballad or a story, for instance, when one is trying to express the love that one celebrates with another, you always hear those lines, for instance, that the whole world could end, everything could fall into the sea, the stars, the sky could totally collapse, and yet my love for you would remain. We've heard numerous love poems and ballads and songs like that, and yet this is what Jesus is living out, the ultimate love ballad, a reminder to us that when someone is so deep in love, and not just any love, but God's unconditional, amazing, and undying love, that nothing else in the end truly matters, because they know who they are in the sight of that love and what that means for their lives. Friends, as we go into Holy Week in just a few days, and we tell the ultimate love story, do not forget that this was all done for you, and that no matter the challenges you face, internally or externally, the great promise remains that God's love always wins and will always, in the end, win out over any fears that the world can throw at us. God bless you, and happy Holy Week.